Lee said, I'm Jerry Derr from the town of Bristol in Dane County, and currently serve as the chairman of the Urban Towns Committee. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good to be here. Good to see a good crowd here, and got a lot of business to do today, and hopefully we have a good meeting and move on to enjoy the rest of the weekend. Just wanted to make a few comments about the urban towns and about what we've been up to here in the last year. So those of you that are new, some of you have heard this before. And I think first of all what I'll do is just introduce, because I know a number of our executive committee people are here, but I'll go through the list. Steve Beavers from the town of Harrison, Calumet County, took over for Chet Deason when we lost Chet last year. And he is not, some of these people are not county unit chairs, so they wouldn't be in attendance. And he is an elected member, will be up for election, I believe, at the state convention. We do 3 of those every year, other than 9 directors. But Richard Gemmler is here, and Richard serves as Dick stand-up. Richard serves as our secretary, and he's one of the appointees from the state board of directors. Dwayne Merritt is here. Dwayne, wave there or something, from Fairchild in LeClaire County. And Dwayne is one of the elected members. Terry McMahon is our vice chair. And Terry is here in front, our former president, and he's from the town of Yorkville and Racine County. Bill Gehring is here from Sheboygan County. Bill, one of our elected members. Jandy Kaiser is not here. She's not a county unit chair. Nina in Winnebago County. Clay Montez is here, one of our elected members. And Clay, as you heard Rick say yesterday, just withstood one of these recall battles. And those of you that see some of the emails that come through on Marge's list, it was kind of a down and dirty, knockdown, drag-out campaign. But like I told Clay yesterday, sometimes the people that are on the right side win, and that's a good thing. And Richard Naraki, who is related to our chief legal counsel, Carolyn, back there, and has the grandkids, is one of our elected members from the town of Merton in Waukesha County. These people come to generally a meeting every month down in Madison at the town of Burke, right on the outskirts of Madison. And I really thank them for the time that they have given to the Urban Towns Committee and the work that they do and the extra effort that they make to come to Madison. We don't meet every month, but depending on what the workload is, we'll probably be meeting again in September to start working on this legislative agenda that was talked about yesterday. Just a couple of background things. Urban Towns, and I don't even remember, Rick, but 20-some years, I think, the Urban Towns has been in existence, and it's actually an operating working committee of the Estate Association. The 9-member board, some of which I just introduced here, 6 of those are elected, 3 of those are appointed by the president, and that makes up the board of directors. Our current membership, and Rick just gave me these numbers yesterday, and I think the handout there gives the list of the members by county, and then the total, and 147 is close to the high number. I think we were at 170 a couple years ago, but I recall that 5 or 6 years ago we were well below 100. So our membership has been increasing dramatically, representing 57 different counties, and that's a positive thing, I think, for the message that we're trying to get out there on some of our lobbying efforts. And the dues schedule is the same as it's always been. It's 25 cents per capita. If you got 1,000 people in your town, it's $250 a year. That dues schedule for those 140 towns raises well over $100,000 a year to help support our lobbying efforts. Jolene and Ann and Rick and the time that they spent down at the Capitol supports the board of directors in their endeavors in lobbying for our legislative agenda. I was thinking about that early this morning, and when you think about 25 cents per capita, it's got to be well over 450,000 townspeople that are actually represented by that per capita number. I never thought of it that way, but you know, we could easily be representing 500,000 people by the dues schedule that's paid by the urban towns, which is kind of an impressive number, I think. That supports our lobbyists, Ann and Jolene, obviously. The mailbox newsletter, which is always a part of the state newsletter. There's a mailbox headline in there that's done by Tom Solberg, one of our staff people that does writing for us, and that's in the monthly newsletter. We support the website. If you haven't been on the new website, you should check it out. There's a lot of new information there. It's kind of streamlined. I think we're doing a lot of that stuff in-house now. I know Lee is working with that. And email list, Marge maintains. If you're not on that email list, it's a good thing because it's a good communication tool for us on legislative alerts. And when Rick calls out the troops to call your legislators or call the governor, we can get the message out fairly quickly. That list is growing every year. Some people are somewhat concerned that Marge sends out a little bit of everything from all across the state. You can always push delete, but the email that she sends out, she does clippings for a number of the state papers, and generally includes stuff that would be of interest around the state as far as local government issues go. A positive thing, I think, for us. The listening sessions, which we just completed last Wednesday night up in Richmond, County, up in Dunn County, were fairly well attended. We had 5 of those this year, basically to solicit input about our upcoming legislative session that will start in January after the elections. Rick went over some of that stuff yesterday. I'll just emphasize that if there's any particular issues that you think that ought to be looked at from the perspective of legislation, get that message to the state office, to the directors, the urban towns members, Ann and Jolene. You could even call Tom Harnish, I guess, is a good kind of number. So that's a positive thing. Hello?
Sorry.
I guess it wasn't for me.
No.
So, actually, when the urban town started, it was pretty much interested in urban issues and the interface issues between the towns that had dealings with cities and villages on the interface in that urbanizing area. And I think it's evolved into, a legislative steering committee, more or less. It's interested in all town issues, including transportation, highway aids, and land use issues, and border and annexation issues, everything. So a lot of the legislative agenda that's going to be finalized will actually come out of our executive committee and then go from there to the state board of directors. So it's evolved into that. The other thing that we've done, and we didn't do this past year, was capital days. And I know somebody had asked about capital days. The legislative session ended pretty early this year. The logistics really didn't dictate that we do a capital days because of that. And we certainly probably will do that next year because we'll be starting a whole new session with probably quite a few new people up in the Capitol that generally are going to have to be educated about town issues. So we got a lot of work to do there again. So we'll probably be doing capital days, and we'll decide on that probably later in the fall toward winter on when that will exactly be. Some of the things that happened in the last session, I think Rick went over those, but I think a couple of people have alluded to it. We had one of the most successful legislative sessions. You never get everything you want. You got everything you wanted, and the towns would run the whole state, and everything would be good because we didn't have any debts or anything. Yes, that's not the case. But those two boundary bills, one's 260 on the Wood case and the Merrimack annexation, were just huge victories for towns. Probably two of the biggest ones that I remember in my time being involved here. And I just got to thank all of you for all the calls that you made, all of the people that you represent in your counties made a lot of calls to legislators and the governor's office. And those calls pay off. I think we got to do more and more emphasis on when Rick pulled the trigger and said we got to make calls, we got to get on the phone. It's easy to do. Nobody's going to ask you to read the bill and memorize the whole thing. All they're going to do is want to know who you are, where you live, and you tell them what your issue is. And it's really simple to do. In fact, sometimes you can even do it after hours and talk to an answering machine if you like to do that. So it's very important, and I think it really emphasizes the fact that our membership responded, made those calls. As Rick said yesterday, the governor decided on one of these bills right at the last minute almost because he was really pushed very hard to veto it. And we did a lot of work on these things. They've been on our agenda for a number of years. And to have those two things get pushed through along with the other things on comprehensive planning was really a kind of a big victory. And a lot of the credit goes to our membership. And as I think every one of our board of directors and our urban towns directors will say is, we carry the message back and forth to the office from our various county units.